Hi Floss Tube, it's Diane. Today is January 8th, 2022. It hasn't been too hard to get to 2022, it's just been hard to know what day in January it is. For piano, I pay her for piano and I wrote the wrong date on there. Got the year right though. But this will be an update video. And start with life a little bit here. On New Year's Eve, I received confirmation that yes, I was COVID positive. So I was COVID positive my last video. And I figured I was. It wasn't a big surprise. But I had a couple days there where I didn't have a lot of energy. I was sore, congested. Our bed is adjustable. So I just kind of put it up at a little bit of an angle, not this angle, but just, you know, instead of perfectly flat, just a little bit of an angle. They say if you have COVID, being up just a little bit helps with the breathing. You know, I don't know. I know whenever I have a cold, it helps me. So I had that. New Year's Day, my daughter came over. She's already had COVID, so she's like, yeah, I'm good. And I was so tired. I mean, just super tired. I came down here and I took a 4-hour nap. And she played games with everybody. And then for me, the most frustrating thing of having any kind of illness is the brain fog. Oh, I hate the brain fog. And I had it so bad. But thankfully, it was just a few days. I stayed home. I had been out and about the day before, but I wasn't going around coughing on people or anything like that. You know, I usually give people their personal space anyway. That's just kind of how I am. So I didn't have a fever. If I did, it was very, very low grade. I did have to take some ibuprofen and Tylenol, which I don't like taking that stuff. I don't like taking medicine, period. I do take my supplements. I'm trying to improve my health. I was supposed to have my blood drawn this week to see if I'm on track with this diet. And I called and said, you know, if I'm fighting COVID, that's going to throw off what he wants to see. And so it's this coming week. And then yesterday, I did yoga yesterday? I got a mini stepper for Christmas. I wanted a mini stepper for Christmas. I opened it and the kids are like, Dad, really? And he said, no, she wanted this. Otherwise I'd never have looked at it for her. And I did. I think yesterday I did some yoga and I got to take a shower and I was getting ready to, you know, jump in and make my breakfast and homeschool the kids. And then Mini Dot was running up the stairs. We have hardwood stairs and he met them up close and personal. He ended up having a goose egg. So he must have just walked the step and then came down on his chin and he split open his chin. And the bleeding stopped right away, so there wasn't a lot of bleeding. But anything with a face, it tends to bleed a lot, but this didn't bleed that much. And then I looked at it, and all the advice out there says if it's this long and this and this, there's some criteria, then yeah, it might need to be stitched. So we had to go to urgent care. And our clinic, for a while, wasn't doing urgent care, so I called and, are you guys doing urgent care now? And she said, well, yeah, but you have to make an appointment. Okay. The appointment was like 4 hours later. I thought, that's not urgent care. And Mini Dot became extremely pale. I mean, he was gray like my shirt. And he was just kind of like this. And he wasn't, I mean, he's 5. 5-year-olds can do that, but he was just like this. And one of his older brothers was sitting there talking to him, just trying to get him to focus, and he couldn't focus. I'm like, no, he's getting checked out now. But I did find another urgent care in our area, and we were in and out of there in like 40 minutes. It was fabulous. I think we got there like right before the rush, because their waiting room was getting full when we left, but there was only one person in the waiting room for it's like a regular clinic and an urgent care. Yeah, so let's just say I was so impressed. I honestly am thinking making that our primary clinic. because the clinic we've been at for 25 years, their customer service sucks. But he ended up not having to have stitches. They did have to glue it, and the doctor agreed, or the PA agreed, it wasn't something we could do at home. I don't think I had the butterflies to hold it together. He would have been picking at it, and so they had to glue it, and the glue was purple. Purple is his favorite color, and it was pretty swollen there, and by then the goose egg had gone down, and he had color and he was more himself. But I told her everything that had happened, and they checked him over, and they glued it, cleaned it, glued it. He has a bandage on there. He can't get it wet till tomorrow. So he'll get a shower tomorrow. He hates showers. He's going to have a haircut tomorrow. It usually takes 3 of us to give him a haircut. He is all boy, but some things just freak him out. And he let me look at it. I couldn't take the bandage off, but I could look at it, and a little seepage, which is normal from an owie. But other than that, he's been fine. I did have to tell her, because he knocked out that front tooth, that that wasn't from this. That was from something else, and he's been to the dentist and all that. And she's like, okay, well, that's good to know. But he's good. He's not in pain. He's himself. And it's like, you need to slow down on the stairs. Again, he's all boy. As a mom of 11 boys, you would think I know all the tricks, but I have a feeling Mini Dot's going to come up with a few more. If I have hair when he graduates high school, it will be a miracle. But that being said, everybody else is good. My husband, his second COVID test was negative, so he had it and now he doesn't. And I had it, and I'm not taking another test because I'm sure I'm done. And I feel good. I'd say I'm not 100%, but my energy and the clarity, I can think, I can plan. I'm calm. I don't like that fogginess. So what I have had a chance to do is some quilting and some stitching. I didn't do a wool. I still have a lot of Christmas ornaments to get done. They'll get done. They'll get hung on the tree next year. My kids understand, because I was so sick in November with the back-to-back colds, and then, oh, lo and behold, one of them was COVID, or something was COVID, or who knows anymore. But I thought I would show the quilts that I finished here. Well, I should say I pieced. The quilting is not done, and I'm going to quilt both of these on my home machine, probably in the summer. I think the setup I have here is not going to work to quilt. It works for piecing and pressing, because I just press over there. I have a board and stuff all set up to press. You can't see it. There's my iron is over there. But it doesn't work for quilting. But to each, we'll just take it one at a time. The first one I finished is this one. It is Long May She Wave. This is by Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. Now this shop is a cross-stitch quilt shop, so yeah, right up my alley. They had a sample of the table runner that I saw in primmer colors than I chose. I think mine are probably more, maybe Civil War-ish. They're not bright. But on here, they want you to use 5 different blueprints. I used 4. They want you to use 8 different creams. I used 4 or 5, maybe. And the red fabric is all the same. And here it is. And so I am going to quilt it probably following the kind of zigzag in the stripes. And it will hang on my wall, because my kids will not leave a table runner on my table at this time. Or something will be spilled on it, or so I'm going to hang it on my wall. It was a lot of fun to do, and my blocks. Okay, there's the star block. I think this is the Ohio star. This was, when I got this fully assembled, perfect. That never happens to me. Usually my blocks are a little smaller. These were absolutely perfect. And then you have this block here, this 4 patch, so 2 half squares and 2 solids. But then the next one, the order is a little different. So that's what gives the wave. But they were all spot on. And that does not normally happen for me, so that was cool. Oh, I was so happy. Kind of, when you're stitching and you have a border and it meets, and you get kind of that Alleluia chorus playing in your head. These coming out absolutely perfect. Yeah, I had the Alleluia chorus. And it shows a second way you can lay this out. And the only difference is you make more of the star blocks and less of the wavy blocks for the table topper. And I think I am going to make this again. And but I'm going to use more scrappy blues. I really like that the pattern keeps the red all the same throughout. It's also the binding. I think that unifies the pattern and makes it more pleasing to the eye than if you did scraps for everything. But I really like how it turned out. I bought this in person. They do have a website that you can purchase from. I don't know if this is listed on their website. If it is, I'll list their website and you could see if it's on there. Also, if not, look at their phone number and they could probably send it to you. Their directions are fabulous. Very, very, very good directions. And I used my, it's not going to work. Do I have a piece of white? Don't have a piece of white. Hold, please. There we go. I used my pepper trimmer to make the Ohio star block and make the half square triangles, and they came out perfectly. And the directions in here, you make them a little bigger, then you trim them down to be more accurate. Fabulous, fabulous directions. Highly recommend their patterns. Again, by Country Sampler. I will link their website below. The other one I finished piecing is this one, this little guy. And it is called 9 Stars Flag by Buttermilk Basin. Now they call for you to use 3 different reds, 3 different creams, no, 1 cream color, 3 different reds, and 6 different blues. I used the exact same red, cream, and blue throughout the entire piece, and I really like how it turned out. This is a different star. This is not the Ohio star. There are a lot of different stars in quilting. But again, I'm going to stitch this on my, or quilt this on my home machine. I think I'm just going to do stripes. It'll be a nice little wall hanging. And again, perfect with the tools. For that, I used my Tucker wing clipper tool. Awesome, awesome tool. So I really like my Tucker tools, and I will be doing a quilt where I use a number of the Tucker tools. It's supposed to start this month. It'll probably start in February with a local shop here. But I've been doing that, and what I've been playing with now, I think is buried at the moment, so we'll find it and we'll talk about it. For Christmas, I got Simple Whatnots by Diehl or Diehl. I had purchased Simple Whatnots 2, but this is Simple Whatnots 1, and as you can see, and I started working on this one. It's not ready to show. I just have it cut, so otherwise I'd show it to you. So I started that, and then today I had a chance to go to the quilt shop because they were having a fabric sale. $5 a yard. Okay, if you quilt, you understand what a good deal that is, because quilting fabric can be anywhere from $11 to $14 a yard here in the US. Depends on, boutiques tend to be a little higher. So $5 a yard. Yeah, I'll show you the fabric I grabbed, but I got this little pattern. Sorry, I didn't take it out. So it has a glare. It's the gingerbread table runner. And again, I will link everything I can possibly, just by Turnberry Lane, I can. But so you embroider the gingerbread and then you quilt the rest. So I thought that was really cute, and it was clearance. And this one, so you embroider all this down here. These are pieced, and then you piece all these squares. And I thought this might be really, really cute. I'm not sure if I'd do it red and white. Of course it is Joyful Poinsettias, that's why they did red and white, but it would also be cute in springtime colors too, because you can change these too. But again, this was also in the clearance area. And then for the Tucker tools that I've been getting, I picked up some different technique sheets. So when you get the Tucker tools, like this one, this is the corner beam, you get an instruction sheet. And if you lose this sheet, she has it on our website and you could download it again, thankfully, because I lost one of mine. And it gives you all the cutting and how to make this unit here. This unit. And those technique sheets take the basics up to another level, so give you more options. So this is one thing my husband got me for Christmas: corner beam, split Rex. I already had the wing clipper and then a Tucker trimmer, and then I have Tucker trimmer 3, which is this big guy. And again, I'm missing the one I've been actively working on. I'm sure it's in here. There it's in. The Lemoyne Star, Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star. This is the unit it makes right here. And this is the ruler. So it's interesting. Very different. She walks you through it, and it's very... Her directions are very, very thorough. I don't have anything. I can show you what part of it looks like, I guess. So one of the mini units looks like this. So getting all these points all accurate is why you use that tool. And so I got that for Christmas. I also got this for Christmas, a light box. So that'll help with wool, that'll help with some quilts that have embroidery, like that Joy. I could see myself using it for a number of things. And then my son gave me a gift certificate to a quilt shop, different quilt shop that I really like and I go to a lot. And so I bought this little tool here because I have a pattern that needs this tool that is on my list for this year. And they had this Liberty, bright reds and blues instead of the deeper ones. And then they had this tiny little Dresden. Again, it uses that tool, Let Freedom Ring, that a monthly series apparently. And so this is July and January. Those were my favorites, and these were in the clearance bin. And then a Buttermilk Basin, July. Geraniums. So this is the With Thy Needle, Thy Time Is Mine monthly series. So it makes this little guy here. So I picked those up. And then also, because of the gift certificate that he gave me, I want to make this quilt for my husband's and my bed. I'm not doing it in blue and white. I am doing it. Sorry, the crinkle. Crinkle filters. Black and red. Black is going to be the background, and red will be the star. That'll work really well for us. But I was able to purchase a chunk of that fabric with the gift certificate from my son. And then what I picked up fabric-wise today, let's just get this all out of the way, is this guy from Moda, Sarah's Story. And then they also had it, the same pattern, in deep blue and deep red. And then for the gold, they had this complementary color, so they all match. And for the blue, they had this one, so they all match. And for the red, they had this one, again, they all match. And they also had this with little bees. It's really cute. So those were on sale today. And then I looked at the regular fabrics, and of course I had to find another patriotic one. They have a good patriotic section. This one, USA, Liberty Bell, Statue of Liberty, the stars, the flag. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Probably project bag. And then I had bought this in Rapid City, and they had the black. So now I gotta put those together somehow. So yeah, I have enough fabric for quite some time. But let's talk housekeeping. Oh, and I also, when I picked up the red and black fabric, I got enough to get a little fat 8th bundle. I haven't really opened them up, but they're more patriotic. And this has all the state names on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. The giveaway. Now those who won bags, and Julie who won the gift certificate. The bags have not been sent yet. Again, because I was COVID positive, I delayed it, but they will be sent this week. And I will send you a tracking number should I receive one, which I should. But 2 winners have not contacted me. Christy Donay. This bag will come to you, but you need to contact me at mondotstitches@gmail.com. And Joyce Mills, you have the scroll bag. Again, mondotstitches@gmail.com. Everybody else, I have yours packaged, ready to go, so it'll go with it later this week. Sorry for the delay, but there's always something. If I do not hear from the winners for these bags by January 31st, then I will either put them into a future giveaway or I will draw another name. So please contact me at that email. But I know that there's so many whip parades and a lot of stuff to watch. So it's understandable that it would be later in your queue. I also picked up these blank playing cards. These work well as thread drops. Do I have one to show? I think I do. So just regular playing cards. This is a stack I previously had purchased. So blank, nothing on them. I cut them in half, and then I poke a big hole and a smaller hole, and then I'll write, DMC and what the number is. And on the back for that individual project, I will write the symbol. Now I have anchor thread, and that's all I really put on these, I think. Usually when I use an overdyed, I'll just use their card. But an idea for thread drops. Yeah, they're pretty plain. That's fine. That works for me. So I got these off of Amazon. Didn't work that much. And then I also purchased Cottage Garden Samplings. They have the 12 Days of Christmas. I had days 1 through 9. I didn't realize she had day 10. Oh, no, sorry. Day 10, 10 Lords of Leaping, 11 Pipers Piping, and 12 Drummers Drumming. So I got those from 123 Stitch when I ordered my fabric for my New Year's New Start. So, before I show what I have started and stitched, I have a finish. And Pursuit of Happiness. Pursuit of Happiness by So sorry, can't talk today. My Big Toe Designs. Now, I knew I was making this for a Smalls Exchange, which I'm probably not going to that retreat. I'm not sure if I'm going to any retreats this year, or it's hard to plan right now for a whole variety of reasons. So what I did, because of size, I moved this border over so there's no words on mine. And now this is on 28 count Wren. I picture this plus. And here's the finish. The only thing I had to do was put these 3 buttons on, and I'm like, oh, Diane, just get them done. So they are done. I'm still going to fully finish this as I had planned initially. And then when I do go to a retreat or a gathering or something where there's an exchange, I'm covered. I did not necessarily use the called for overdyeds. I definitely used overdyeds, but I didn't use the called for, and I know I talked about them in a previous video, but I don't have them with me right now. These are Jabco buttons. The pattern also gives you the option of stitching the flowers if you didn't want the buttons. So that is a finish. Which I guess technically will be my first finish of the year. I have to look on Instagram when I finished it. I don't think I finished it this year. I think I finished it at the end of last year. But now I have my new starts, because yes, I started stuff. So I think this was December 20th. It was before Christmas. So probably December 20th, right in there. And it is Lady Liberty by Keslyn. 100% of the proceeds from this chart go to Wounded Warriors in her father's name. Marine Mom? Yes, that works for me. I am using Gloriana Crimson and Gloriana Pacific Blue Dark, the Tudor Silk, on 25 count. It's an even weave. I don't know if I wrote it down or not. I might have written it down. And then again, I probably didn't. It's 25 count even weave. Nope, wrong. Lady Liberty. There's a lot of designers that use Lady Liberty. Nope, it just says kitted. I don't have the fabric. It's a white. It is Jobelin. And here's where I'm at. Now, I do not normally use a frame, hoop, what have you, this Q-snap. Except I'm doing this 1/1. So I'm like, no, because I can't do the sewing method like I usually do. I have to do the stab method, stab and poke. So I'm using a Q-snap. It's loose right now. I just, move the clamps to tighten it up. This is a grime guard I bought a number of years ago. And so you can see some of the variegation in the silk. But again, it's just one of the stripes that's just going to go down. And this is probably 2 days worth, maybe. Maybe it's only 1 of stitching. This one will definitely be coming out more with my whip go. With my whip go, or my general rotation is the first week of the month doing one of my starts. This is on the board for one of my starts. And so I'll do it for a whole week, except for this week I'm doing it actually a different start. So I have 3 new starts on a separate whip go board, and I look at what Jessie Marie called. And for January she called the number 2 and the number 19. So on my primary board I have those things. And then on my secondary board, which is my first, or my new starts I think is what I called it, I look, okay, those 2 numbers, which of the 3 projects should I do? And I think this month actually they were both the same thing. No, they weren't. One was Lady Liberty, this one, and one was one of my other new starts, which I have chosen to do that one this week. Week 2 is Mirabilia week in my rotation. And I have a Mirabilia board with 3 Mirabilia projects. And one of them is a new start. This one I started on Christmas Day. and it is Queen of Freedom. This is an out of print chart. I am not selling any of my charts at this point in time. If I ever decide to do that, I definitely let you guys know, and all the things, all the details, but I'm not, and I'm sorry, I don't know where you could find it except the secondary market. So no, I'm not interested in selling my patterns at this point in time, but I started this one on Christmas Day, and I'm using all the called for on 32 count French Lilac by Picture This Plus. And again, these are the called for, and I started with the flag. This actually is a gray, not a white, which kind of surprised me. But when you get into the golds of her dress and stuff, I think it'll look really nice. I like the red on the purple. I think it's looking good. I'm using 2 strands over 2 threads, all the called for, and I only stitched on this. Yeah, I only stitched on this on Christmas Day, which I didn't think I'd have a Christmas Day start. I've never had one of those before, but this year it worked. So this month for my Mira week, which is starting tomorrow, I am not stitching on Queen of Freedom because the whip go numbers actually were Miss Persephone, and I thought I would show where I am at on her. She's on 32 count antique, vintage antique fields. I do not know who dyed this because it doesn't say on here. It is Lugana. Otherwise I'd say it was R&R, but, or Lakeside. I don't think they do they do Lugana? I didn't think they did. Now that she is my oldest whip, and she also has her own spots on the whip go board, which are not this month, so if she was called, then I would go to one of my other Miras this week. The third Mira on my board is Lady of the Flag, and I'm not going to show her because I'm not stitching on her this month. But here's where I'm at on Persephone. Last time I stitched on her, I had all this done, and I added all this. So I think I'm just going to keep working down here, or I'll go on this side and go down. I didn't show you guys a picture. I am so sorry. Because then, here we go. I'm not stitching the background. The background doesn't appeal to me on this piece. Some of the pieces I do like the background, but not on this one. So she's going to be floating, but my Autumn Queen is already floating. Lady of the Mist has the flowers all around her, but she's not sitting on something you could see. And like Queen of Freedom that I just showed, she doesn't have something that she's sitting on. So I think Persephone will be fine, but she's my oldest whip. I would like to have her finish this year. And we're not fighting, which is good. That's why I don't have her done. I started her in 2013, and we got no fight. And I don't know why. I really don't, because I don't know. And then I bring her out again, and we get in a fight again, and then I pulled out Red by Mirabilia and finished her, and yeah. But she's my oldest whip, and I always have my oldest whip on my whip go or on my stitching list. I have done that since 2015, and she was on there last year. I didn't finish her, obviously, but every other year when I had my oldest, I finished it. But I'll be stitching on her this week, so I'm going to put her up here, misplace her. And then this one I started, I want to say like the 27th. It was after Christmas but before New Year's. And it is Plum Street Samplers, Paradise Lost. I saw a model of this at Keepsakes when I was there during StitchCon in Cincinnati. Fell absolutely in love with it. The backstory of the original stitcher and how it was finished and is really good. And the original stitcher had coffee tea dyed her own fabric dark, and I loved that. Absolutely loved it. So that's why I chose 40 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim. 1 strand over 2 threads. what I did now, it is charted in NPIs and it's also charted in DMC. With the original stitcher of that model, she loved Gentle Arts, and so she changed a lot of the colors to Gentle Arts, and I do have that list because Barb or Lenny, they both helped me on this piece, and one of them gave me a copy of the original stitcher's what color she did, because she passed away and it wasn't quite done, and her husband gave it to Barb, and Barb finished stitching it, and it hangs in the shop. It's a beautiful piece. Hers was on 28 count, mine's on 40 count. There are no beads in this, so it'll fit just fine. So what I did is I pulled all the DMC colors, and then I went to all my overdyeds and I pulled. So in here I have Fiberlicious, Gentle Arts, Weeks, Classic Colorworks, Carrie's Creation Cottons. I think those are the 5 cotton companies I have or will have represented in this piece. So at some point, if I, again, so far the colors that I chose, I'm liking a lot, especially on this fabric. If, yeah, at some point I'll make what colors I used available. But here is where it's at. I started at the tree in the center. And this here is the serpent. He's 2 colors or 3 colors, so I only have 1 color in right there. The tree comes down a little bit more, and that'll be the bottom. And this, I think that you have another branch coming out here, and then you have the banner, and yeah, it definitely fits on this piece of linen. I measured and remeasured. I picked up this piece of linen at Country Sampler in Spring Green when I was there, August, September, what time frame it was. I think it was August. And they cut it for me, so I zigzagged it when I got home, so it's not going to fray. And this fiber on a whim, this is the second piece I've stitched on fiber on a whim. Love their fabrics. Oh, and the colors. And there's a hint of a smell, not a perfumey smell. It's a pleasant smell. It's just a hint. Just a hint. So at some point in time, as I work on this, I would make my conversion available if anybody wanted it. And my whip go numbers for January, Plum Street, 5 days, when me a day is 2 hours of stitching. This is the one I'm going to stitch on, and that is my week 3 are my whip go numbers. So I have 5 days on this, and the other whip go number is 5 days on my Blackbird, which I'm going to show here in a minute. And yeah, there's only 7 days in a week, but there are a few odd days, and this will get stitched because this is on, I have a 3rd, or I should say a 4th whip go board. So I have my main one, which this is listed on, or I should say Plum Street is listed on. I have my New Start board, I have my Mirabilia board, and I have a sampler board, and this is one of the samplers that's on that board. Then the other whip go number was Blackbird, and this is a Blackbird I started at StitchCon from Sweet Land of Liberty. It's the only one that isn't like on the cover, and it's Liberty Rose. Let me show the pattern. And you actually have 2 pieces of linen. So you stitch a bird on one and the rose on the other. I am going to do that. And I started the bird when I was at StitchCon. I didn't get very far because I was chatting a lot. I was Miss Social Butterfly. But that's kind of why you go to retreats. 40 count, R&R, vintage beeswax. Oops, sorry, my needle is holding the fabric together. So I started one of the roses at the bottom, so it only has that 1 color in it. I am using the called for color 1 strand over 2 threads, and the rose will actually be stitched on R&R 40 count Park City blend. I think in the pattern the bird was in a lighter color and the rose was in a darker. I'm switching it. but I think there's only 3 or 4 colors in this. So this is the one I'm going to be stitching on Whip Go Week. And then, again, it's only 2 hours as a day, so on the weekend I tend to have a little more flexibility. And so it could be I stitch on both pieces. But again, I get a mark on my main Whip Go board when I have 5 days in that, when I have 5 days in the other one. So it'll get done. And then the piece that has had my attention is my New Year, New Start in honor of Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter. She turned 60. I turned 50 in July last year. And it's this one, Heaven is My Hope. Now, a lot of people are doing the Elizabeth Isles. I didn't have that pattern. I had this pattern. This is the first Scarlet Letter I've done. And my only negative thing to say about this pattern at this point in time, she doesn't give me the stitch count. Because I'm not doing it on 30 count. I don't like 30 count on a piece like this. No. 30 count has its place. I mean, all the counts have their place, but no. So, if I did the math right, which I tried to count the chart, and I just know myself and know I probably screwed it up. It would not fit on a fat quarter. So from 1, 2, 3, when I ordered those 3 patterns, I bought a fat half of 40 count Mallow by Zweigart. And so this was my New Year, New Start. I did get a few stitches in on New Year's Day. No, I didn't get any on New Year's Day. I wasn't feeling well. And when you're not feeling well and you can't focus your eyes, that's not a time to start on 40 count fabric. I started on January 2nd, but still it's in honor of Laura. And here's where I'm at. They call it a key. Greek key? Yeah, Greek key is this outer border. It's a certain thing in samplers. I'm learning about samplers, so I couldn't tell you. And then there's a vine border here. I'm going to have to order some more of this gold color. This is charted for NPIs and DMC also, except, I don't know why, but I got it in my head, I'm doing this all in Inker. I wanted to try Inker floss in the skeins. Not the spools. I guess there's a difference. I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, Stitchville does sell the Inker, so I bought it there. I'm going to have to get another one of those golds and one of the greens because it's used a lot. And I'm just trying to get the border all the way across because I would like to cut my fabric down. But I'm not going to do that until I have the border all the way across, know that yes, it's going to fit this way. I'm thinking it is, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeats and there's 19 across, I think. So it should fit. Oh man, if it doesn't, I'm going to be so mad. But the reality is, you know, if it doesn't, it will fit this way. So, oh, but the stitches won't be going right. We'll cross that bridge should I need to. So that is the one ding I would have about the pattern. Other than that, I think it is pretty self-explanatory and, excuse me while I get my pattern, pretty clear. Although, oh my word, there are so many queen stitches in here and I have not done a single queen stitch in my life. Rice stitches, I like rice stitches. And there are counted thread satin stitches, which I've done. Otherwise, just basic cross. So I like the flowers here. The ones that go up, those are all queen stitches. The ones that go down, I think, involve more cross stitch than queen stitch. And this house here. Okay, so this section, the house and the sheep, I chose 40 count fabric. The castle, the big house, is 1/2. Yeah, but like this tree here is like all queen stitches, and this little thing in the corner is all queen stitches, and I think this border here around the verse is all queen stitches. I'm gonna have to get my embroidery hoop out. I don't know if I have a big enough one, because I'd want a little bigger one. So I might have to pick up one. Yeah. I do have Q-snaps, but I think I would trust it in a hoop better, because I definitely remember to take it off every time. I love the birds and the flowers, though. I mean, they're so beautiful. And that key border is just amazing. So, I'm intimidated by this pattern, but it's okay to challenge yourself. I'm not intimidated by 40 count. Although this 40 count is pretty tight, but it's working for me. And the anchor floss is working for me. In the past, when I've done anchor floss, it broke like every 4 inches. And I must have had a bad skein. So this is the one I've been working on the most. It's on my new start board, and I will continue to work on it. I've also decided, what was my other? Was that Blackbird and Plum Street are my 2 whip goes. My first goal for getting a whip go, so 5 in a row, or 5 blocks done, no matter where they are on the board, is I'm going to kit this guy up. This guy is from Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly. Summer 2015 is part 1, and Fall 2015 is part 2. And it is just 2 colors, mainly this burnt umberish color, which the DMC equivalent, they call it NPI. I don't know if I'm going to do it in silk or DMC 3371 is the color. That is my least favorite DMC. We all have a favorite DMC. We all have a least. 3371 is my least. I do not know why. It just is. So, when I get 5 boxes on my main whip go board done, I'm going to kit this guy up. And then when I get 10 blocks done, I'm going to kit up another sampler. I really want to kit up And They Sinned, so that could be my New Year, New Start next year, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the one. So this was a gift from a friend, these magazines. Love ya. You know who you are. But I think, is that all I have? Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot. I didn't think I was going to talk this long. But my plans this next week are to get into Persephone as on my mirror rotation. And then week 3 is whip go. Week 4 is samplers. So I have 4 whip go boards. The original, the one that counts for me. And then I have a new start one. I have a mirror one. And I have a sampler one. And the sampler this month, in both boxes actually, box 2 and box 19, were 3 things, which is the one I'm making for my 30th wedding anniversary, which I am halfway done with. That is the one I'm going to be stitching on in that week. So hopefully you'll see progress on that when I come back. Christy Donnie, please contact me. And Joyce Mills, please contact me at mondotstitches@gmail.com so I can get your human name, your human address, and put these in the snail mail for you. But yeah, so I'm going to continue to work on my quilting, and then I kind of quilt until supper time and then stitch after supper, and then I'll be pulling this out to work on that border. And again, if the border doesn't go all the way across, which I think it will, but if it doesn't, then I'll just have to turn my piece sideways and the border shifts appropriately. Yeah, it does, because then it'll work that way. these corners aren't, the vine corners aren't exactly identical. So I'm only going to focus on the key and the vine. I'd love to add more colors, but I want to know, is this going to go all the way across? And then I'll work this one down so then I can cut my fabric and won't feel like I have a blanket every time I stitch. But I thank you for watching. Welcome 2022. And I will probably do another giveaway this year sometime. Not sure when, but I'll let y'all know when I do. So I'm on Instagram, mondot stitches. I'm just showed my email address. So I will see all of you in the next video. And yeah, keep warm. Today it's 25 above zero. Yesterday it was 22 below zero when my son had to go to work at 6 in the morning. And I don't think it got above zero yesterday. If it did, it was 2 above zero. And that's not wind chill, okay? That's Fahrenheit. Yeah, and then today is warm. Tomorrow's supposed to be cold. Monday warm. We're in the yo-yo. But yeah, as long as we don't get the polar garbage, yeah. We won't speak of that. But we have 4 birthdays in January, and one is coming this Tuesday. My eldest son, he turns 30. And then 2 days later, another son turns 22. And then at the end of the month, my Marine turns 25. And 2 days later, I have a son turning 10. They're growing up so fast. So fast. And my Marine should be home by the end of the month, last we heard. And then he'll be home for a month or so, and kind of figuring out things. And then we'll go from there. Yep. But love to you all. I hope you stay well, stay hydrated, do what you have to improve your health. You may think, well, I'm just going to drink another cup of water. That's good for your body. That is good. We're chronically dehydrated. I know I am, even though I'm getting better about it. But yeah, do the small things. They add up to good health, because that's the best way to fight everything this time of year. And we'll talk to you later. Love to you all. Bye.